Welcome back to Uprising. I'm Sonali Kolhatkar. You can now watch Uprising on Free Speech TV, which airs on Dish Network Channel 9415, DirecTV Channel 348, and hundreds of part-time cable affiliates, and on Roku. Dozens of people have been killed and a whopping 7,000 arrested this week in Bangladesh as political unrest rocks the poor South Asian nation. On the first anniversary of the election that resulted in current Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and her party, the Awami League, winning power, protests have been relentless. Hasina's government is facing serious opposition from the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, or BNP, which boycotted last year's election, and whose leader Khaleda Zia had until recently been placed under house arrest. Zia's son, Tariq Rahman, who is also a senior leader in the BNP, has been living in the UK since 2008 in exile. His speeches are currently banned in Bangladesh. A television owner who aired Rahman's speech in violation of the ban was arrested earlier this year. Thousands of police are in the streets of the capital, Dhaka, ostensibly to keep the peace, dealing with what Prime Minister Hasina has said amounts to terrorism rather than political activism. The government has also banned electronic communications programs to hamper activists' ability to organize. Amnesty International has condemned government violence and demanded justice for those killed. Over the past year since the controversial election results, about 100 people have been killed. Joining me in studio today is Tania Rashid. She is an international correspondent for Vice Media. Welcome to Uprising, Tania.
Hello.
Thanks so much for joining us. Well, can you give our audience some background on these political figures, the two women in question, Sheikh Hasina and her rival Khaleda Zia? They've both been prime minister of the country at various times in the past. They're not new to the political scene. What is the main difference between these two candidates, these two rival political figures, politically and ideologically?
So with Sheikh Hasina, her party stands for secularism. I mean, both parties are quite similar, but with Sheikh Hasina, her stance is on a strong perspective of secularism, whereas Khaleda Zia's party has ties with the Jamaat-e-Islami, which is a very popular Islamist party in Bangladesh. And what Sheikh Hasina claims is that her party is provoking a lot of violence in the streets because of their alliances with these Islamist organizations. And that is why her party people and the police officials have taken such a strong hold onto the streets.
And so the election that took place last January, are they seen across Bangladesh as illegitimate because they were boycotted? Or, I mean, is the country polarized in the same sort of sense that these two leaders are?
Well, 90% of the Bangladeshis live in the rural areas, and most of the people in the rural areas support the BNP, which is the opposition party. And with the elections, what Khaleda Zia wanted was a caretaker system to oversee the elections. And what had ended up happening was Sheikh Hasina took over and ignored her pleas to have a caretaker system, and essentially Khaleda Zia backed off and said she would boycott the elections. And yes, many people in the country, the sentiment is that it was completely unfair and biased, and that is why the protests have been happening this entire week.